look into an important issue, that is highway liquor ban. Now, what is this issue all about? Now, highway liquor ban was based upon the judgment that was given by the Supreme Court as a part of the state of Tamil Nadu versus K. Balu case, and the judgment came by around December 2016. And as per the judgment, Supreme Court ordered that from April 1st, the states as well as the union territories were to shut all the liquor vents, be it the bars or the liquor shops, that is situated within 500 meters of the outer edge of the national or the state highways. And second, the states were also barred from issuing or granting the fresh license for the liquor sale along the highways. And with respect to those areas where the population is less than 20,000, they may have a liquor vent at the distance of about 220 meters from the highway. So this was a judgment or the order that was put forward by the Supreme Court. Now, what all was cited by the Supreme Court while making this particular order? The first thing is in regard to the official statistics. That is, in 2015, it was said that out of the 5,01,423 deaths that happened due to the road accident, about 16,298 or around 3.3 were due to the drunken driving. 3.3% were due to the drunken driving. And the Supreme Court also cited the recommendation that was given by the National Road Safety Council, which is an apex road safety body, and this body had recommended for not issuing any license to the liquor shops along the national highways. And as per this recommendation, the Ministry of the Road Transport as well as Highways issued a circular to all the state governments telling that they need to ban the liquor shops that is along the highway, and also they need to refrain from issuing the fresh license. So that is with regard to the circular that was given to all the state governments. The Supreme Court also cited the model policy that was formulated by the Union government way back in 2005, which stated that there needs to be a ban on the liquor vents that is situated within 220 meters from the middle of the national highway or the state highway. So while making this particular judgment, Supreme Court said that it was doing this as per the power that was vested in it under the Article 142. Now, what does this 142 deal mainly with? It mainly deals with the Supreme Court exercising its power to ensure that complete justice is done. So these are the main things, or the main aspects that were made by the Supreme Court while making this highway liquor ban. But even though these grounds were being cited, there has been certain criticism, and main criticism is that it is a case of judicial overreach. So to understand what is this judicial overreach, first of all we need to understand the doctrine known as separation of power. Now, the separation of power doctrine states that the state power is not concentrated or it's not lying with a single entity. Instead, it is distributed among different elements, which mainly constitutes the legislature, which makes the laws, executive, which enforces the laws, and the judiciary, which interprets the laws. So when in this case, in the liquor ban case, what has happened is that Supreme Court has come up with a new policy. That is, it has clearly defined the distance which is different from that of the model policy. That is, model policy was telling about 220 meters, and here the Supreme Court is coming with 500 meters. So it is actually coming up with a policy making which is coming under the ambit of the executive. So what has happened? The judiciary has gone out of its jurisdiction, and it has got involved in the process of policy making. So that is why it has been said that this is a case of judicial overreach. And next is that there has been criticism that the Supreme Court has got into the ambit of the state government, because as per the Constitution, that is entry 8 of the list 2, which is a state list of the Schedule 7, it has been cited that the power to impose the prohibition, that is prohibition of alcohol, either partially or completely, it lies with the state government. But here what has happened is that the Supreme Court has subsumed or taken up the power of the state government and imposed its own policy. So that these two cases are the major things that are being provided or that are being cited by the Supreme or by the others, that is to say that this is a case of judicial overreach. So what are the consequences with this particular liquor ban? The first thing is that it can result in huge loss in the revenue, and the revenue loss is estimated to be around 50,000 CR. So that is the first thing. Second thing is that the employment opportunities will be getting affected, because now the estimates again says that about 1.5 million jobs are now threatened as of now. And then the hospitality sector as well as tourism potential of the country again is going to get affected with this particular liquor ban. And then the uncertainty of India's business climate is happening, because now all of a sudden such kind of an such kind of an ban comes in, so that brings in an uncertainty. And then after the ban coming in, what has happened is that there is an increasing tendency of the state government to denotify the highways. That is, in case of the national highways, it requires the permission of the union government, but with respect to the state highways, they can do it by themselves. So there has been an increasing tendency of the states to denotify their state highways and make it urban or the district or major district roads. Now this particular tendency puts in two challenges. Now what are the challenges? First thing is that what is resulting is that the safety as well as the quality norms of an highway is different from that of the major district roads or the urban roads. So that is one aspect, that is the quality norms as well as the safety norms are going to get affected. That's the first thing. Second thing is that now I've already mentioned that the urban local bodies are already short of resources. Now who will be maintaining these particular urban roads as well as major district roads? It will be the urban local bodies. So they are already resource scarce, so this can affect the proper maintenance of the major roads, as well as this can also put in an added responsibilities to the urban local bodies. So that is the next negative that can be said. And then also you have the illegal liquor vents that can come up. So when something happens, a ban comes in, the informal channel comes in. So that is one of the reasons, that is illegal liquor vents can come in. So these are the main consequences. That is, the first thing is that the huge loss in revenue, employment opportunities, hospitality sector as well as the tourism potential going to get affected, and the business climate brings in, and then there's an uncertainty in the business climate which is not good for the country. And then there's a downgrading highways which can add in more responsibilities to the urban local bodies, and it can also affect the maintenance of these roads. And then you have the illegal liquor vents that is going to come up, and that is not good for the country. And then what is the way forward? Now rather than going for these ban, which is actually an imposition, there needs to be a deterrence coming in. Now how can we bring in that particular deterrence? The first thing is that we need to bring in a stricter enforcement of the current laws. Now for that, the zero tolerance approach to the drunk driving, which is being practiced in numerous cities like that of the Mumbai, it's showing an encouraging result. So we need to ensure that there is a zero tolerance approach to the drunk driving. That's the first thing. Second thing is that there needs to be an increased or more frequent patrolling, and along with it, faster prosecution. That's very important. The faster prosecution of the cases has to happen, and there needs to be stricter punishment. So as in the case of Western nations, what happens is that the fine is comparatively too high, and also in certain cases there has been suspension of the driving license for a considerable period, or in cases of the repeat offenders, it is resulted in the lifetime ban of the driving license. So such kind of things can be brought in. And then the Union Cabinet has now cleared certain amendments to the Motor Vehicle Act, and as per these amendments, one of the amendment is that there will be a raise in the fine of drunken driving to 10,000. Now to bring in such kind of a deterrence that I have already mentioned, we need to raise this particular fine to a higher amount. And the second amendment that was made by the Union Cabinet is that now on what is going to happen is that an accident that is happening due to the drunken driving will now be treated as a culpable homicide. Now that's a welcome step. So these are various things that can ensure that there's a deterrence that is being brought in rather than an imposition that can result in various conditions like that of the illegal chain. So what are the way forward? The first thing is that stricter enforcement of the current laws and bringing in a zero tolerance approach, and then more frequent patrolling, faster prosecution, and the strict punishments as in the case of the Western nations. And in case of repeat offense, what we need to do is that we need to suspend or take away the driving license, and the Union government amendments is a welcome step. So these can help in resulting or bringing in a deterrence against in the drunken driving. Now to the larger question of prohibition, you can say that the alcohol addiction, it has its own consequences, that is, be it societal, be it health wise, or be it economic, it has its own consequences and it has to be tackled. But for that, various states have come up with different measures. For certain states have brought in complete ban, and certain states partial ban. So Bihar is one of those states that have brought in this blanket ban in the consumption as well as the possession of the liquor. And when you analyze this particular liquor ban, you can say in Bihar, what has the result is that it has not been encouraging. Now there has been reports of the death that is happening due to the spurious liquor consumption, and also the drug abuse that is happening in cases are being reported and it is increasing. So these are not showing that the blanket ban has not been that successful. And along with it, there are few shortcomings. The first thing is that there was not a proper evaluation of the capacity of the state health machinery, because once the liquor is being completely banned, the kind of that withdrawal symptom, and also in cases of reporting of the drug abuse, how the state health machinery is going to address this kind of things, that was not properly evaluated. And then second, the de-addiction centers were being opened, but the problem was that it lacked the psychiatrist, one thing, and second thing is that the location was mainly in the district headquarters. So a person that is living in a rural area will not be that much motivated or encouraged to go every now and then to this particular de-addiction center. So this became a failure. And then you have the way alcoholics are being treated. That's a countrywide itself. The alcoholics are being treated in a moral way, but when you consider that alcohol addiction is a health condition and it can be treated as a health condition, now that kind of an attitudinal change is not happening. So this is when you analyze the blanket ban that was brought in the state, specifically Bihar. So what is the way forward for ensuring or tackling this alcohol addiction? It has to be tackled in a gradual manner. Now with respect to the Kerala's liquor policy, rather than putting in a prohibition, they have gone for a voluntary abstinence, which is comparatively a better solution. And along with it, what we need is that we need to ensure that a vigorous campaign is being held, and for that the civil society should also be robbed in. And what we need to do is that the harmful effects of the liquor consumption has to be made aware of, and such kind of attitudinal change has to be brought in. And also we need to open up the de-addiction centers that is fully fledged with the psychiatrist, and also it is properly located so that the case with the Bihar does not happen in the future. So these are the main things that have to be taken in consideration while looking into the alcoholic addiction. So in this session we discussed about the liquor ban and then its consequences and what can be done, and to the larger question of alcoholic addiction. So these are the main things.